I have a couple of questions on this Stanford case from Steve Kallas, our legal guy. Steve, welcome. How are you?
Good, Mike. How you doing?
All right. Here's the questions I have, and I might be ambushing you, but you can give me an idea here. This case now is this Stanford swimmer from a well-to-do family on scholarship there is found guilty of 3 counts of felony assault for assaulting an unconscious woman.
Right.
Eyewitnesses, the whole thing. He had no priors. His father outraged the entire school and the city when it was found that he sent a letter to the judge who was a Stanford alum saying that he hoped his son would not be imprisoned for what he put in quotes 20 minutes of action.
Right,
okay?
Outrageous. Yep.
All right, just the most outrageous thing you've ever heard. The woman asked if she could directly direct her statement, which has now been read by over 10 million people because it was put up on BuzzFeed and it's been read now on national television. And her first words were to him, amazingly, Judge, I would like, if you don't mind, to read this directly to the defendant. You don't know me, but you've been inside me. And went from there. The point is, the prosecutor said, "We'll take." The sentencing mandate was 14 years, 3 counts of felony sexual assault. He loses. She loses the case, despite the fact the well-paid defense attorneys did everything they could to rip the woman to shreds, who wasn't a Stanford girl. Bottom line is, they lose the case. The prosecutor takes the fact that he is a first-time offender and no prior record into account and says to the judge, we think 6 minimum is fair sentencing. Judge gives him 6 months probated sentence. And there's now an outrage across America, and it's growing by the day. There's already 300,000 names on the list asking for him to step down from his elected position. My point is there anywhere that anybody in the system of legal system in California can overturn his sentencing?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Mike, I don't know the exact rules in California. There generally is something where you could try and appeal a sentence as opposed to a guilty or innocent verdict. You know, if he was innocent, he could never be tried again, no matter what. You know, double
he was found guilty, and the judge the judge stated that listen to what the judge said in his statement, that he feared that any time in prison would have a severe impact on the young man's life. That was his concern. No concern for the young lady. His concern was for his severe impact that prison would have, and he didn't need prison because he was not a threat to anybody.
Well, again,
I mean, this guy was convicted of 3 counts of felonious sexual assault.
Right, which generally, I'm sure you know, is usually 5 years per count. Yes, you can reduce that for
14 years is the count.
Offender.
And I can read you the graphic stuff that this guy did to this girl, and you will not believe some of it. So, and I have it all here. And how this guy, how he was sentenced to a 6-month probated case. I mean, if I was her father, I would have gone after the judge and the husband and the father myself. If I was her father, that's how outraged I'd be by what happened here.
Mike, if you were her father, you might go after him.
I might go after the judge. I might go after all 3 of them. I mean,
you might go after the swimmer. That would be the first.
I'll start with all 3 of them. I'll tell you, the father would be in there too after a statement. 20 minutes of action. I mean, my point is, how can you be a judge, and when a judge is so far outside the bounds of what is proper, is there anything that anyone can do?
Well, for better or worse, these judges have incredible discretion, as we've seen from other cases, but this is a particularly egregious one. Again, in some cases, the government can appeal a sentence, not a conviction or innocence, but you can. I just frankly don't know the rules in California. That would be their best bet.
What would be, I mean, well, let's say we were in New York. Is there any recourse for who would be presiding over it? The DA? Who would be the state DA?
Well, yeah, I think you would go initially back to the judge and ask him to reconsider. But again, I can't tell you I've heard of cases where that's happened. Either way, you go to a judge or you even go to an appellate court and ask them to reconsider the sentence. I don't know any examples off the top of my head of that. And frankly, that's a big problem. This guy, they're going to say now that he was like, the judge was a Stanford grad, right? So there's some kind of
yes, he's a Stanford grad. They're going to say yes that there's
a conflict, but
right.
To be so tone deaf, to be so out of it, given what we've seen in the last few years on college campuses, which I'm sure you're fully aware of, this has become an epidemic. It was a quiet epidemic, and now it's more out in the open. But absolutely, this is beyond the pale in terms of a minimum sentence. Can they do anything in California? I'm just not sure, Mike.
Unbelievable. Okay. So, I mean, there might be, I guess, the district attorney said the punishment does not in any way fit the crime. And then he went on and on and on. It doesn't matter if it's a first-time offender. Rape is rape. Affluent versus, non-affluent, privilege versus non-privilege, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is unbelievable. And the groundswell is just, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll find out because this has gone national now and it's gotten an incredible amount of attention.
Yeah, frankly, Mike, I think we would have heard if there was some kind of appellate way to get to this. I mean, so for a first-time guy, you might give him 5 years instead of 10.
Right. Well, the prosecutor asked for a minimum of 6 based on the fact he didn't have any priors. So they weren't going to give him 14, which they could have.
Right, right.
But but to give him 6 months suspended sentence?
No, it's a disgrace. It's a national disgrace, and that's why it's getting such a kickback towards the judge.
Wait, excuse me. Let me get it right. 6 months in a county jail,
right,
not a penitentiary, a county jail, and then probation. Right, and then probation. Yes, 6 months in a county jail.
That is on this fact pattern the equivalent of a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. I mean, it's, someone brought this to my attention today. I hadn't even known about this case until last night, and then I just started reading up on it, and it's amazing how outrageous it is. I mean, it really is just unbelievable. I mean, it's, but I didn't know if there was any, I mean, I guess if they could find out, they'll investigate and see if the judge got paid off or something like that. I mean, but barring that, if they can't link anything like that, I guess he's within his bounds, right?
Yeah, frankly, there are wide bounds of discretion for these judges, and I have read some stuff about it, Mike, but I haven't heard any way that you can, go change the sentence. I don't know of any in California, frankly.
All right, Steve, thanks very much.
Okay, take care.
Okay, so, I have no idea. If somebody has any thoughts on it or knows anything, whether there is any recourse. There's the DA striking out again. Now, he obviously is in an elected position. He will, when he goes up for re-election, he's not going to get re-elected. You know that. The judge, I don't know how many years he's in for. I don't know how many years his term is for. They said it is an elected position. The girl was found unconscious behind a dumpster on the Palo Alto campus, and there were eyewitnesses. So he was convicted despite the fact he was an Olympic. Supposedly he could have gone to the Olympic trials. I don't know if he would have made the team or not. He was a scholarship swimmer at Stanford. Clean record. But he was found on top of her, unconscious. He was unconscious and she was out cold. And some of the stuff that was done to her is, I'm not going to read you on the air, but you can read it yourself. But his high-priced attorneys, she was from, a moderate background. She was not a Stanford girl, and she had gone to a frat party, and they tore her apart on the stand. I mean, they destroyed her on the stand, and it's still the jury found that he was guilty, and found him guilty of 3 counts of felonious, sexual assault, and he got 6 months in the county jail and then probation. To now, like I said, there's an outcry across the country, and this thing has been read on TV. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. I haven't even started to read it yet. I just read you the first line of it right here. But she addressed it all to the court and to him, and then they posted it on the internet, and it's already had like 10 million views in less than a day. So it's become a national case here. But the father was just so arrogant and just so above it and just so, imagine that. What about the young lady? There's no regard at all for what your son did or for what happened to her. You wonder about people. You really do. Back after this. Alex in Manhattan. What's up, Alex?
Hey, Mike. How are you?
What's happening?
Quick question on this Stanford thing. First of all, I mean, this is an absolute farce what's going on with this kid. I mean, anyone who even tries to defend what's going on, it's a joke. It really is.
Well, they're now trying to get his case, actually. They're trying to get his jail time transferred to his hometown.
He's going to serve 3 months in jail.
Right, and they're trying to get it now in his hometown. Why don't they put it in his bedroom?
I mean, anyone that doesn't see the disparity in our criminal justice system is just not paying attention.
Well, this is one where, you can't blame it on the jury. You can't blame it on the court case. This is the judge. The judge is so outside the boundaries of what, and his point is so outrageous that there has been an outcry where I don't know how many people now, 500,000 more, have actually signed petitions asking for his ouster. I mean, they're having campaigns out there to get the guy's job.
And let's be honest, Mike, if this wasn't a wealthy, white, rich, successful athlete, the circumstances would be a lot different.
Well, this is the judge. I mean, his wealth and his and all that did not help him in the case.
It helped him with the judge.
It helped him with the judge. That's exactly right. I mean, because listen, they had the attorneys. The attorneys went after the girl unbelievably in the court case. She withstood that. She got through it, even though they said a lot of it was outrageous. And she got through that, and they won the case. He gets hit with 3. He's found guilty of 3 counts of felonious sexual assault, and the sentence should have been, according to the prosecution, a minimum of 6 years, because he was a first offender. They thought it should have been a minimum of 6 years. It could have been 14 to 15. 15 would have been a max. A minimum of 6 years, and he got, now it looks like 3 months, then probation, and now he's trying to, according to something I just saw a couple minutes ago, he's trying to get the 3 months moved to his hometown. They want to put in his backyard for the summer. Get him a hammock, the whole thing. Put the radio on for him and make it nice. Get his slippers out there, the whole thing. It's an embarrassment. The judge should be ashamed of himself. What if the judge has any daughters?